All right, y'all. I got with me a special guest, and I promised that since Josh was out, I was going to bring some guests on. We had Tim Watts from Bama Online for the Alabama-Tennessee preview. I did solo mission on the James Franklin rant that I gave for you Penn State fans. I think everybody's saying Penn State doesn't have the right to do better. They're absolutely crazy. I was never going to win you a championship. But with me today is Brooks Austin, and I had him on because he likes to talk a lot of Georgia ball, a lot of SEC ball. But today I was looking through, actually earlier this week, I was looking through and he put out some good CJ Carr content. And he, like myself, we weren't believers at the beginning. And I think, it's tough because if your first impression of a guy is in a huge game and it's his first start, it kind of sticks with you. But I want to open it up to you, Brooks. And maybe you can tell us what you thought about CJ Carr and then what you found out when you started digging into the tape.
Look, it's not CJ Carr's fault that I look like a dummy on Arch Manning. It's not CJ Carr's fault that I was a little bit early on Bryce Underwood. All right. It is also not CJ Carr's fault that they protected him early like they should with young quarterbacks. All right. So I was waiting. And I have learned lately with these young quarterbacks, because a lot more of them are playing nowadays than ever before, because they're getting paid a lot more than they ever were before at this age, right? So we're getting them on the field earlier, right? I think we need to tamper expectations just a little bit early on. And that's what I was trying to learn with CJ Carr. I don't know why I specifically chose him. I do know why. Because the head football coach in that matchup against Miami, the first thing he says to the microphone is, I got to get a bunch of free access throws to my young quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, as a football brain, when I heard that, I heard he does not trust him. He does not trust him yet. All right. And that's okay, because he's going to. He's eventually going to. And when I looked at the film against Boise State and then followed back up against NC State, they are fully fledged trusting this kid. Mike Denbrock is starting football games hunting teams. All right. They have started the last two football games explosive and downfield. All right, and he's making 35-yard chunks right now look like layups, okay, when he's stable in the pocket. And then his off-script stuff right now, dude, is really, really, really good. He's such a sudden athlete and has really, really big-time throws. He made several of them this last weekend against NC State, man. I am a lot more bullish on him as a talent than I ever thought. I knew he was talented, but it's more about the information that he collects at the line of scrimmage, the protections that he cleans up. We're like 6 games into it, and he plays really, really clean. There's one flaw in this game that I don't necessarily like, but this is a me thing, and it's the pedal drop that he does. I'm getting really nerdy about quarterback play, but he'll backpedal when he's working short game left, like a DB. He'll just backpedal straight up, get his back foot in the ground, and then rip a hitch. Or he'll backpedal, get his back foot in the ground, and rip an out route. It's the same thing that, Bryce Young started doing. I'm not huge on it because I'm a big chicken and rice guy. I want everything to look methodical in the pocket. I want it to be Tom Brady like that. I think that's the GOAT. You know what I mean? I want it to be like that. But, man, he's so fun. He's so fun and so talented. There's no doubt.
So if you'll spare me a moment, I got a little bit of a rant about the AP poll, and it has to do with Notre Dame. So maybe you disagree. Maybe you're one of the people who's wrong about this. We'll find out in a second. So Notre Dame has 2 losses, and those losses are to the AP number 2 and number 14. I have maintained, and Josh has also maintained on this show forever, and ironically, it used to be in regards to Texas A&M, who would play brutal schedules. They'd lose. One year they lost to like the number 1 team in the country twice, and then 2 other top 5 teams by 1 score each, and they were not ranked. We got Notre Dame down here at 13 because they got 2 losses. Does anyone on planet Earth think Georgia Tech beats Notre Dame? I don't think so. My complaint in all of this is we say you can't beat number 4, you can't beat number 2, therefore you can't be the 10th best team in the country, who's LSU. Notre Dame beats LSU by 10 points today on a neutral field.
Yeah.
And I know that people kind of roll their eyes because they say this is kind of a power rating, and it's how it's about, you got to win the games at some point, but also how you play and who you play matters. And
Mhm.
the argument I always make is, are you telling me because we watch this loss column like crazy? Are you telling me that a 1 loss or 1 point loss to Ohio State is worse than a 1 point win over UAB? If we're talking
No.
about ranking teams who's best, even in a loss, that is people hate the word quality loss, but that's a quality loss. You barely lose to A&M, and then you barely lose to Miami when you've got your quarterback who's never started a game before, first start on the road against what we think is the second best team in the country, and we're going to dump them almost into the teens. I think this
Yeah.
is ridiculous, Brooks. I want to hear your opinion to see if you think I'm crazy, if
I mean,
I'm doing too power rating and not enough ranking.
no, I mean, to me, the ranking system has always been flawed because look, I will stand by this. I think I watch more football than anybody on the planet, but I ain't watching everybody. There ain't no way I
Mhm.
can. There is no
Right.
way. So when there's no way that they're not doing wins and loss looking at Saturday night when they're putting their rankings down. So it's an impossible metric. It's impossible not to F up, like for lack of a better term, for those voters. I would never even apply for it. Why would you ever want to be one of those people? I would, hell no, absolutely not. It's an impossible task for those people because they're too busy. They're not watching every football game. Now, that's why I don't do power rankings with regards to teams. I'm not watching every team. I do quarterbacks because I'm a talent evaluator to an extent. Like I'm going out here trying to watch as many cues as I possibly can, and I still have slips through the cracks. So I feel like, to be honest with you, I would be more apropos to a model like you guys have. I just need to know why the model is the model. And that's all.
Right.
I don't need. That's it. That's all I need. If it's going to be publicly what we're basing this off of, and that's the problem with the AP poll: the fact that we all know it's flawed, and the fact that we all know it's a starting point. It's a building block. It's preconceived notions. It's what we take into account prior to the rankings, which the CFP rankings. Don't get me started on that. Get like 12 people that ain't got no idea about modern football. It's old coaches that ain't coached in 15 years and some athletic administrators. Like, miss me with that. Miss me with putting the hands or the fate of make sure we find out who the best is this year. Miss me with them making that decision. I think that's a universal opinion, though.
If you look at the people that make up that committee, it's pretty crazy. I think there's one last year. There was one SEC representative, or somebody connected to the SEC. I think maybe there's two this year, but there are several G5, FCS, HBC, or journalists, like people not connected at all to big boy college football. And I think that's ridiculous. All right, we got to talk USC. We got to talk Notre Dame. Um, I want to kind of put you on the spot here with a question because
Mm-hmm.
we on this channel, as a either a hobby or just something we like to do, we piss people off because if you're an elite team or you're telling us you're going to be the best team in the country, we're going to pick you apart because everybody's going to tell you you're good at the X, Y, and Z. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
find the things that might show up early that are a little concerning. And coming into this game, Notre Dame has faced, in my opinion, one potentially elite offense, one good offense, and then the rest nothing. And they're about to face what I think is a good, not elite offense in USC. And you might say, well, we're ranked 13th and we got a pretty good record. We stomped Arkansas on the road. They
Oh,
did give up 40 points to A&M, and we can't forget that. So is that in the back of your mind at all when you're thinking about how they're going to match up against USC?
we got a tinfoil hat sitting over there that we use during our show. I'm going to put it metaphorically on right now. Bobby Petrino, saboteur. Bobby Petrino went out there and called a dog poopy football game on purpose so he could be the interim football coach for a good 7 weeks with a bye. You heard it here first.
He didn't play defense, though.
I mean, he did play defense, but he damn sure did try to play no offense. I mean, they came out against Tennessee out here wheeling and dealing. Like, hey, real talk. They walked the football 5 scoring possessions on Tennessee's defense that averaged 9 to 11 snaps. Bobby Petrino was in his bag against Tennessee and looked like he had no idea what to do against Notre Dame's defense. So
Yep.
tinfoil hat theory. But no, what was your original question? I had to get my Bobby Petrino joke off.
Are you concerned at all looking at that 40 burger they gave up to A&M?
I mean, I'm concerned about anybody's defense facing Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. The idea that they're doing what they're doing at A&M without a true X is crazy to me. Like, they don't have a 6'2" body type, but they're one of the most explosive teams in college football. Also, a team that you can't really play your brand of football against if you're Notre Dame. They want to play some man-to-man. They want to do some stuff like that. You can't really do that against a almost like a pseudo RPO football team that runs a lot of jet motion, flips a lot of stuff, runs a lot of RPOs, slants, runs a lot of jet and counter and quarterback run game. Like, you can't really be a man-to-man football team against that team. So I felt like they were a little bit uncomfortable in that setting. But they played really, really well against, like you said, an Arkansas team. But I don't know, like I said, how much real that game plan was. I'm serious about this Petrino thing. I don't trust nothing about that guy. I don't trust nothing about that guy.
No, I don't either. For what it's worth, I don't either. I don't want to diminish Notre Dame's win because we always have to caveat that they beat them either way. But I can see what you're saying because it was pretty convenient that he took the reins pretty quickly thereafter.
And Buddy cleaned house. Went around with a just cleaned house. Went around with a paintball gun like Ari Gold. Just get out of here.
I did not see an Entourage season 3 reference coming up at me, but there it is. I did see a headline that said as he fires X, Y, and Z as he remakes his staff, and I'm like, remakes his staff? It's middle of the season. We don't know he's going to be coach next year. He
gonna cuddle up to a booster, Buddy. Don't you worry. He gonna spend the next. That's why he got in so early. He got to spend the next. I know we're sidetracking this whole mission. My bad, man.
That's all right. That's all right. It's good. It's good talk though. So USC would be unblemished if not for a field goal at the end of the game against Illinois on the road. And Illinois, for all of their stepping on the rake against Indiana, I think is a good football team. I'm not really dinging USC in general for that game, and otherwise they've handled business, including Michigan. Everybody gave Oklahoma a ton of hype that I honestly didn't believe in after they beat Michigan, because Notre Dame fans can appreciate this. They got the version of Underwood in his first ever start as a true freshman on the road against Oklahoma. So they got like the worst version of Michigan you're going to get this year. USC didn't. Yeah. They got a little more experienced seasoned version of Michigan. And the thing that impressed me about this was the 31 they put on that defense. Maiava did better than Oklahoma offensively did. But then that 8.8 yards per carry from King Miller running the ball against Michigan. So this USC team, in my opinion, is not to be overlooked. And it's interesting because Vegas is given a pretty big number here. I think it's around 9. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing, but to me, I don't see that, even though I got a ton of respect for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about USC's offense this year is that they're getting back to the heyday of Lincoln Riley offenses, which is based off building, like, they run the football. That's what Oklahoma offenses did. They ran the football really, really well. 250 yards a game, like at their prime. That's what they're getting back to, and they're doing it like really physically and downhill. So that's what you're talking about. 8.8 yards per carry for one back, 6.5 as a team. Like, it was all of them. All of them were gashing Michigan in the run game. That was and I would love your take on this. And this is something that Kirby and Lane Kiffin started talking about several years ago with regards to explosives and its impact on college football. The team that is the most explosive, especially if there's a heavy tilt, I'm taking that football team. I'm always going to. And in that USC Michigan football game, that's what it was all about to me. One of these teams chunks defenses up. The other one is hoping that Justice Haynes rips it for 75 out of nowhere. Like, ride the team that's constantly chunking it up. The other thing about this team you watch, Maiava is really, really comfortable out of play action, which is important in what Lincoln's trying to do, establishing the run. But most importantly, Makai Lemon is a problem. Makai Lemon is a real, real explosive problem, and he defies a lot of coverage because even when he's covered, he's not. So that's the real problem right there for defenses facing USC right about now. I like Notre Dame because I like the quarterback, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I know you're going to pin me down on a prediction, but this isn't one of those heavy tilt explosive battles. Both of these teams are explosive. Have you seen what Malachi Fields has doing to this Notre Dame offense? He's tilting Fields. They have a true X. Like, they have a guy that says, okay, you're worried about the run, all right, or you're worried about this trips formation over here, and you're leaving that in a one-on-one. It's 3rd and 6. Not anymore. It's 1st and 10 because he just ran a 7-yard hitch, and you can't do anything about it. That changes a lot in this football game.
You know, I can't let it slide. I know we're sidetracking a lot, but you mentioned Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley. 2018 Oklahoma, because you're right. People think this about Heupel, and they think this about Lincoln Riley. They think they're basically air raid offenses, and they're not.
Do.
2018 Oklahoma ran it for 6.5 yards an attempt as a team. They ran it 38 times a game and had 42 rushing touchdowns. And that's a team with a Heisman quarterback on it. Yeah.
It's CeeDee Lamb.
Kyler Murray.
I know. They're insane.
The year their quarterback won the Heisman, they ran it for 6.5 yards per carry and had 42 rushing touchdowns. So and you're right, I do feel like he got away from it a little bit. And another thing I will say in Notre Dame's defense is their defense. I think that 40 they gave up to A&M is a little bit I don't want to discredit A&M, but it's a little bit, you have these games, and this is how A&M is going to work. They're going to score 16 on Auburn one time because the deep shot's not working, the chunk play's not working, and then it's some nights it's just going to hit. It's Alabama with Jalen Milroe in 2023, not 2024, where he couldn't hit anything, and it was there, and they can put 50 on you, or they can put 13 on you. People forget that 4th and 31 that Alabama had, that miracle against Auburn, that offense sucked against a mediocre defense that whole game, right? And even going back to Bryce Young, they had 3 points on Auburn before they had that miracle comeback, and that's kind of what you get with Texas A&M's offense this year. And I say all that to say it's a bit of an aberration. This Notre Dame defense is good, and I don't think it's anything like, I don't want to take away from Michigan either, but Michigan can't play complementary football in a way that can help their defense. They have a great defense, but when the offense isn't there, it doesn't matter. At some point, that dam's going to break, and I don't think you get that with Notre Dame. Give me a prediction on this one.
Honestly, I see a lot of points. I see a lot of chunk plays and a lot of explosives. I like both quarterbacks. I like both run games. I like both offenses, to be honest with you. And it's not that I don't like both defenses. I think they're both playing really, really good football. USC has really rebuilt their line of scrimmage. Bringing in the defensive line coach from the Rams has tremendously revamped everything that it is that they do, not just from a recruiting standpoint, but from a general effort and efficiency standpoint. Their defensive line gets after people. And I don't think I've said that about a Lincoln Riley coach football team maybe ever. So that is a major thing. But for me, I'm thinking 35-31. I want to see a lot of points, tight fourth quarter football game. I'm with you. I don't believe you say 9.5, 7.5, the line that keeps escalating in favor of Notre Dame. I don't necessarily believe that. I think it's a tighter football game than that. I got Notre Dame. Sorry, my bad.
No, you said 35-31. It's interesting because our model has it 37-34 Notre Dame. Ooh. And we talked a little bit about rankings in the open, and I wanted to talk about that because our model doesn't care about who you are. It doesn't know that Alabama is Alabama. It doesn't know Georgia is Georgia. It knows it's a team who has performed this way on the field. It doesn't use priors or recruiting rankings or anything like that. And our 1 through 136 ranking, we've got Notre Dame 5th. Because it doesn't matter that you lost a game in terms of our model. It matters how you performed against the opponents you played. And you played opponents that our model loves. Our model's got Miami 4th, not 2nd. You've played, but USC, it's got 7th. And so our model doesn't think this is a 9.5-point game. Our model thinks this is a 3-point game. I'm going to say it's a 4-point game, 31-27 Notre Dame. And I always do this. I'm going to get one more sort of thought from you. If this game ends up being opposite of what we think, and it's in the 17-13, 2017 kind of score, who you picking to win that? Who's it favored?
Oh, in a rock fight, Notre Dame. In a line it up, toe the line, we're going to exchange jabs at the line of scrimmage football game. Give me the Irish at home if it's that way.
Okay.
Now, 18 months from now, maybe USC. Like Jakeem Stewart in 18 months is going to be a real problem. He's already starting to be one, but he's going to be a real problem.
All right. So what I want you to do is let everybody know where they can find you, but also maybe give it just a couple minutes on that CJ Carr film you broke down, just because that's the essence of who you are, and I want people to know about it.
Yeah, no, I first of all, I'm Brooks Austin. You can find me at Brooks Austin BA, the Film God Network on social media. Or on YouTube, I'll probably hop in the comments of this video and thank the boys for having me on. But no, the CJ Carr film study, I think most importantly, it'll show you just how aggressive and how in tune they are as a play caller and a quarterback together, particularly to start football games. They do a very extensive study on their opponent. They know what their opponent's going to align in and how they're going to align, and then they attack those concepts. All right, and they attack them aggressively downfield. All right, with this young quarterback now that he is 5, 6, 7 games into his football playing career. The other thing that you'll notice about him in that study, and you probably already know this as a Notre Dame fan, he's an extremely sudden athlete at 6'3.5", 225. And what do I mean by that? When he gets rushed, when things do fall apart quickly, he has the ability to get pushed off of his spot, reset his feet right now, and get the ball out in an accurate, form. The other thing about him, and the thing that I love about him, and the thing that the NFL will love about him, he has a tremendous ability to make big-time throws. Under pressure, guys on his back, whatever it is, he has the ability to put the ball and drive the ball downfield in accurate windows and in tight windows and create chunk plays for this offense. The thing there is the occasional miss and the occasional spray is what we call it on the network, where, he'll just miss suddenly. It's inexplicable. You don't know why it is. I think there's a touchdown missed against NC State last week, but I mean, they scored 37 points, so it didn't really matter, and the defense played great. But there are things to work on, but as there should be for a young football player. I think that one's going to be, I think he's the most talented passer they've had in a long time. Like, people will say, they'll go all the way back to Jimmy Clausen. Guys, Jimmy Clausen today would have to rebuild everything. He held the ball at his ear. Like, this is a whole total different superstar phenom when it comes to throwing the football, in my opinion. CJ Carr is a legit, and ton of information being collected by that guy at the line of scrimmage. That dude's running an operation. He is not pick and sticking. He is running the machine at the line of scrimmage 6 games in his career.
And this is why I like guys that have been around a program for a little bit versus the transfer place that we're at right now. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging on with us on this one for this long. And we really appreciate Brooks joining us for this, especially with Josh being out of town. Hopefully to get him on some more. Remember, go follow him on his socials, on his YouTube. Thanks, y'all. Have a great week. God bless.